Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. Bye-bye. Oh, participants. All right, Reed. You need to pay attention to what you're doing so we don't have issues. Okay. Let's do two things. Bring that down. Oh, gosh, look at the mess behind your desk. I think you just need to see my plaques today. And look, can we make this smaller so that we can see what the heck is going on? I thought I saw Ted join this. Who is this? It is recording. All right. Tan, do you have the things to unlock that door? Yeah. But you have the thing to go in there to do that? But I know oh, okay. Just remember, look, I got a piece of paper and my brain's old. My brain is old and does not want to pay. Yeah.
It's not working. Where's your fob? Let me see if my fob is not. But it should be anybody's fob.
Should be any of them.
You should have tested it. Here, let me look for the thing and make sure.
That's what I was looking for.
It might be saved on the computer.
I just found it. Okay. Here we go.
Very good, Rita.
Okay. Shall?
Okay, so here's a picture I took of my wife in the shower.
Did Gina get it to come up?
Nah, Gina's working on it, and she has the police department supporting her.
Okay.
Is that because you aren't logging on to the Borough internet? Because you can also go Xfinity Wi-Fi. Connect to another. You connect to that one. If you need, I don't know what the password is for the Borough secure one. I could call Rita and find out. Megan's got it all covered.
I got the air, I got the.
Rita, hear that? It looks like Gina's good.
Okay.
Chief is good under fire. Rita's downstairs in her office. Rita is a zoomer from the eyes up. She's not even doing eyes up at tonight's meeting, apparently.
Wait, here I am. In here, I just didn't want anybody to see how messy it is in here.
Not messy.
That's not too bad.
I have them sit in the back.
Everything's
Not
broken.
really anybody pounded down the door to get in.
Not yet. It's early though. There's the Bible. There's their oaths of office. Gina can do all of that.
You're good. Am I willing to dance when I'm going to
I am not going to interpret for you. Everybody in the meeting has to wear a mask. I'll let you interpret that. Listen, you're sitting up there, right? That's really for everyone's benefit back here. So I'm going to wear a mask. I think you guys, are you comfortable up there not wearing a mask? I would, if it's just the two of you, yeah, then go for it. I think you're good. Wow, it's been like 5 years or something, hasn't it? It sure does seem like it. How are things in the harbor? Are you a member of the new reconstituted board? No? Is that all new people? Really? I know Rick is. Well, who else? Anybody I know? Is it Ruth Dalbo, one of them?
Yes.
I know her very well. She was engaged to my brother, Jeff. Yeah. Good. Of course. Well, we actually have news on the Main Harbor Drive. I just got the report. So I haven't even finished reading it, but I have a summary I can.
We don't even, I don't know why they don't have a liaison. I always do.
Yeah, you did. So, well, you can either take the information back or not, or just tell them to call me. It may not be available for a week yet because the governing body hasn't even seen it yet. I got it on Friday. Yeah, of course. Yeah. And Rick will probably log in anyway. He does attend anyway, but yeah, I do remember he was on vacation. All right.
Well, what meeting is Ted in?
What?
said Ted joined the meeting. I don't see him.
We're trying. So far, the technology, it's early. The technology is working. We'll see how it goes. And if we get more people. You may, if you mute your microphones, you may have to speak in your laptop mics, you may have to speak into that mic because it still needs to be picked up to be recorded. So
And that recording is going.
So Rita has the meeting recording going, plus she's recording via the Zoom meeting. So we just need to make sure we pick it up. That's all. Oh, is Tim on? Oh, he is on.
Mhm.
Basically, yeah, guys, I just got on. How
Hey,
you
man.
doing?
Thank you.
I'll be muted when you need me.
Okay, and
Is
then you want me
Brandon
just
on? Oh, Brandon's on too, yeah.
to unmute you or ask you to unmute?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you were going to give us access to be able to unmute, so I can though, right?
Okay, yep, you got it?
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. Has anybody heard from Farah?
No, I haven't.
Or Ted?
Where's your mask, Bill?
Want me to put one on?
Yeah, do us all a favor. Rita, do you have Ted yet?
No, I don't.
I thought that was Joe in the kitchen, Linda.
Good evening.
Hi, Farah.
Hi, how are you?
I'm
Yes,
well.
Yes.
Mayor Tate, I just received your message. My apologies. If there's still a need, please call me on the phone.
I think we got everybody, Gina.
All right, sounds good. Anita, you ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
You ready? Okay, you ready?
Ready, Your Honor. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. I call to order the regular council meeting of the Borough Council of Borough of Palmyra. I call to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. Almond,
Present.
Dr. Cloud, Mrs. Jenkins,
Present.
Mrs. McCann,
Present.
Mrs. Russell, President Howard,
Present.
Mayor Tate.
Thank you. President, may you stand for the pledge, please?
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty, justice for all.
In accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act, NJSA 10:4-6, etc., and in consideration of Executive Order 103 issued by Governor Murphy on March 9, 2020, declaring a state of emergency and a public health emergency in the state of New Jersey, and in response to the Executive Order number 196 issued by Governor Murphy on November 16, 2020. Please be advised the Borough of Palmyra does hereby notify the public to protect the health, safety, and welfare of our citizens while ensuring the continued functioning of government. The meeting of the mayor and council will be conducted both as a virtual and in-person council meeting. Members of the public are invited to attend the council meeting virtually via the computer or phone, but all members of the public participating in the meeting virtually may be muted and the video image disabled. Members of the public are also invited to attend the council meeting in person, but council chambers will be limited to 20 persons maximum. On the first come, first served basis in order to limit potential spread of COVID-19 and its families. All persons attending the meeting in person will be required to wear a mask. Notice of this meeting was published in the Borough County Times on January 12, 2021. Notice was posted on the municipal door, office building, office bulletin board, and electric signs on June 22nd, 2021. Notice was also posted in the Borough of Palmyra website on July 16, 2021. Given to all council.
Mayor Tate, excuse me, You gotta move that microphone a little closer. Because we can hardly hear you out here. Okay.
Approval of minutes. Has everyone gotten a chance to look at the minutes for June 21st, 2021, the regular council meeting minutes? Saying yes, may I have the approval of the minutes, please? A motion?
Motion to approve the minute.
Second.
Have a roll call or all in favor?
Mr. Almond,
Yes.
Mrs. Jenkins,
Yes.
Mrs. McCann,
Abstain?
President Howard.
Yes.
Thank you.
Correspondence, Rita, do we have any correspondence?
Yeah, I have a couple things. Ooh. The first reads, thank you so much for your generous award. I'm honored to be the recipient of the Palmyra Borough Council Award. I plan to use your gift to contribute towards my education at the University of Southern California, where I will be studying to become a teacher. Graduation is such a joyous time, and you made this milestone even more special. Thank you again for your generosity. Sincerely, Ella McMahon Gross. And then the second one reads, thank you for choosing me as a recipient of the Palmyra Borough Council Award for a generous amount of $150. I'm extremely honored to have my love of social studies recognized and grateful to be able to use your gift to help with further my education. I will be attending RCBC this fall to study political science with the hopes of someday running for office. No matter where life takes me, I will never forget how much Palmyra High School and the amazing people of this community have done for me. I will especially not forget your generosity, and I thank you once again for making graduation so much more special to myself and my family. Thank you, Luca Jones. And those are the only two things that I have.
All right, thank you, Rita. Now we get to swear in our new officers.
Mayor, if I can just say something real quick about each one of them. You can both come up here.
This is, other departments. Izzy, we have affectionately, given the nickname of Izzy, which we breaking slavery. Came from the Salmon Metro Police Department. Born in the Republic and moved here at the age of 8. And he's excited to get started here in the Borough of Palmyra, working for our community. He's also 21 years old, came from a few departments. He came from North Wildwood, and most recently the Delanco Police Department as a class 2 officer. And a family and, extended family and his girlfriend. And he's also excited to be here in the borough. So welcome both of you. We're excited to have you. Mayor, do you want to do?
You want to do them one at a time? Or
Yeah.
you want to do both?
Just step back.
Oh, yeah.
Would you like to hold the Bible for you?
I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the government established in the United States and in the state under the authority of the people. I also do solemnly swear
swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all my duties
perform all my duties
of patrolman
of patrolman
of the Borough of Palmyra
of the Borough of Palmyra
in
in
and for
and for
the Borough of Palmyra
the Borough of Palmyra
in Wilmington County,
in Burlington County,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my
So
ability.
help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Do you want to take any pictures or you want your mom to stand or something you can take some pictures? You have to say yes. I'll take the phone. I'll take a picture for you.
Strike a pose.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And you know me,
My dad. All right, so
Put your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand. I, state your name,
I, Casey Hawk,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the government
and to the government established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority
under the authority
of the people.
of the people.
I also do
I also
solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of patrolman
of patrolman
of the Borough of Palmyra
of the Borough of Palmyra
in and for
in and for
the Borough of Palmyra
the Borough of Palmyra
in Wilmington County, according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, Dad. If you picture, you guys want to come in?
I just need to get some.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I want to do that. Thank you very
Absolutely.
much. You want me to take a picture?
Yes, please. Okay.
Congratulations. My pleasure.
Thank you.
The race is board now.
I'm not going to have you stay if you don't want to stay. You're not gonna know my feelings. Leave it.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. You as well.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Bye now.
Oh, thank you.
I guess I'm the liaison between the harbor.
You're the liaison to everybody out there. Your Honor, given that there's just a couple of us, I think we can all dispense with the masks if you're okay with that.
I've had my shots.
We all have to. It's all right.
Development. John, you want to give us the update?
Certainly, Your Honor. Quite a bit actually has happened and is ongoing. Route 73 South, just in quick summary, the redeveloper has potentially reached agreement with Phillip and its assigns, meaning North Point in particular. There's a 60-day due diligence period where they're doing some investigation and things of that sort. That led to some meeting requests with the DEP. That information is in your packet. Regarding some additional permits that have to be issued and potential siting of what is a long time empty bald eagle's nest, but everybody's being careful about that. So there's some things like that that are ongoing. We just received the other day, and I'll turn this over to Andrew and Ted. We received the long-term tax exemption pilot application for the affordable housing component. I drove by there on Friday. There is a significant amount of construction taking place. It's substantially different than what it appeared to be at the groundbreaking ceremony. So I asked redeveloper Glenn Stock and Jay Wolfkind to set up a site meeting for anybody on the governing body and other public officials like the chief, myself, et cetera, Tracy Kilmer, Rick Dreby, et cetera, who may want to attend and just get an update on the project. That is scheduled for this Wednesday at 3:30. I'll send you an email reminder. Other than that, I would turn it over to Andrew and Ted.
I'll speak quickly, although I'll answer any questions. I think John gave a good summary. Route 73, the second half is moving along, I think, because our redeveloper was able to at least make progress in getting the rest of the property, the Phillip property. The affordable housing component that Pure is obligated to build is going to have a pilot, as John said, and we have the application for that as well as the draft agreement. Looked at it cursory. We're going to have a talk about it with any comments later on this week, but that's moving along. That's moving along well. So the Route 73 South is moving along great, as we expected, we think. And the Outlaw Fitness is still scheduled for a condemnation trial at the end of August. That hasn't changed, and so those are really the two things that have that are moving in redevelopment.
Mayor and council, members of the public, good evening. I likewise have positive news to convey this evening. As you recall, Phillip Inc. filed a Chapter 11 bankruptcy. It submitted a plan of reorganization and a disclosure statement. All council had the opportunity to review it. The Palmyra team considered it in depth. No objections were ultimately heard, although you're aware that Palmyra filed an initial objection, but I'm happy to report that our concern was satisfied. The Honorable Susan Gravel, United States Bankruptcy Court judge, approved the plan of reorganization. It's expected that all creditors will be paid in full on the effective date. There is no precise definition as to when the effective date will occur. However, I have reason to believe it will be within the next 3 months. Good news associated with that is that Palmyra, if you'll recall, assigned its judgment against Phillip to Cherokee, part of the pure redevelopment team. In exchange, Cherokee, as part of the pure redevelopment team, promised to pay Palmyra its judgment when it gets paid. Palmyra has already received $50,000, and it is anticipated that we will be receiving another $250,000 within that window. Next, the plan provides that Phillip will resume being a functional corporation, and it is anticipated that the settlement agreement between Phillip, NP Palmyra, North Point, and Pure and its financial source, Crow, as well as its partner, Sansone, will eventually result in the Sansone entity, number one, remediating the Phillip parcels to the satisfaction of the New Jersey DEP. Number two, constructing a 1,100,000 square foot warehouse. Number three, providing substantial tax relief to the Palmyra residents. Number four, providing various amenities as set forth in the redevelopment agreement. What was previously a wish list, which morphed into an anticipated resolution, suddenly has legs on it, and it appears likely that all of this will be resolved, and we'll be able to report to you within the next 60 days the success of phase 2 of the redevelopment. Phase 1 has already been agreed upon. Affordable housing has been funded. The construction, as John Gural indicated, has commenced on the 700,000 square foot warehouse. We are very excited about phase 2. And then there is a third phase, which we have not focused on, which is the redevelopment of the rest of the parcels, so that the businesses that are on Route 73, it's anticipated that they too, or their successors, will benefit from a redevelopment plan. So we have nothing but good news to report. We will continue to monitor it. We will continue to do everything in our power to expedite it. I might add that all parties rely upon John Gural and his knowledge of the project and his expertise in facilitating this. And rather than just blow smoke toward John Gural, I will tell you that he too is instrumental in setting up meetings with the New Jersey DEP. So in sum, all systems are a go, and we will keep you appraised. And thank you, Mayor and members of the council, for your great foresight, your optimism, and your continuing support of this project, which I believe in my heart will greatly benefit Palmyra.
I agree. With the settlement side, I was on that one meeting the other night, the other day, and I don't want to mess with John. Okay, do you have anything else on 73 or?
Nothing else to your report at this time, Your Honor, and I have nothing on the C-Box former Knights of Columbus property either.
So, Commissioner? The update to 1 year.
I'm sorry, I'm having a little trouble hearing you, Mayor. Did you say I'm up?
Yep, you're up.
Okay.
Gina, are you when you're talking, Gina, are you able to unmute? Would that mess everything up there? Because
Okay, I see that. Okay. Is that better?
that's a little better. Yeah, it's really hard to hear. John, we can hear clear because I think it's his microphone that you guys are using.
Okay.
You are muted on the, I think Brandon may have been speaking about your Zoom mic, Mayor.
All right, we'll figure it out.
I don't know if when it's, I know it's going to cause an issue there, but I don't know if, when the mayor's talking, if you're able to mute yours.
Okay.
All right. You ready for my report? Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay. A couple things. As everyone knows, the Temple Boulevard project's been stalled due to obtaining materials issues, which in my 33 years of doing this, I've never seen these kind of delays. And I know no one's happy about it. It's not just restricted to Palmyra. I have projects in all different towns in all of Burlington County that are held up for one reason or another. It does not seem to be a uniform issue in getting parts, meaning uniform is in one type of part. It seems to be certain types of parts spread out all over the entire construction industry. It's not related just to municipal projects. I was at a retirement dinner for a colleague of mine with another firm that did land development work. I was speaking to a couple developers. They're experiencing similar issues with odd parts. It seems to all go back to a combination of two things. During the COVID pandemic, while a lot of construction was able to continue because the work was outside, manufacturing got interrupted every time an individual in the manufacturing facility would get sick. Everyone had to be out and quarantined for the required number of days. So while construction continued, the parts that were in stock were depleted, and now we're basically waiting for manufacturers to make something. The other issue we have, believe it or not, is a lot of the raw materials from the parts that we need came out of Texas. The ice storms and the issues in Texas has them set back on top of their COVID issues. So all that said, I do have some good news to report. We did get the rest of the pipe that we need to proceed with Temple, and the contractor indicated to me that he re-notified the residents on Friday and work should resume tomorrow. Barring any major issues, I would think we're looking at about 2 weeks of prep work between pipe and unfinished concrete work. And then we should hopefully get into the paving of the roadway and hopefully very shortly thereafter wrap this project up. So again, for anyone that knows, we're very apologetic about the delay. It's not the borough, it's not us, it's not even the contractor. It's just circumstances have things set behind, but we're doing the best we can, and we do greatly appreciate the patience the residents have shown thus far. That said, the contractor who has Temple also has the 5th and Race Street project. It is my belief that as soon as he finishes Temple, he will roll right into Fifth and Race, though I've yet to get confirmation on that from him, but I will keep on him about that. Regarding the 2021 road program, which is New Jersey Ave and a bunch of other roads around the borough, the contractor who was awarded that is currently finishing up a project for me in Beverly, which he envisions will take another 2 to 3 weeks, and then he should be rolling into the borough to work on that project. That is basically an update on the construction projects. I think, John, there's a couple items under discussion you wanted to have me weigh in on. So if the mayor is not opposed, we can take them now.
Yes, please. You're gonna, I apologize. Bill, yes, please. What I'd like to discuss is, our discussion we had this afternoon regarding the next phase of Temple Boulevard, including the storm drainage project and the various items related to that, please.
Sure. Okay, just as a little recap, the Temple Boulevard, the portion of the project that we worked on currently, which is the road reconstruction and the paving in the 2 segments that I say are Souder to Firth and then Firth to Cinnaminson. Those 2 projects have currently added approximately almost 28,000 gallons of storage to the drainage system. The piece that we're missing, the replacement of the pipe between Van Sant and Firth, will add another 5,000 gallons. So we're gaining roughly 33,000 gallons of storage there.
I think it's important, Bill, if I may, I think it's important to note that the construction heretofore on Temple Boulevard, just the pipe work completed to date, what Bill is saying here added 28,000 gallons of additional stormwater storage already to the system, and it's not complete. So that's 28,000 gallons more storage capacity than we had prior to the storm on Monday. Just wanted to be clear about that.
Correct. The next piece that, it used to be called the TAP grant part, but I think to give it a better name for the layperson, John and I decided to rename it the Firth and Temple Drainage Improvement Project. That is the reconfiguring of the Firth and Temple intersection with the rain garden and the underground storage for stormwater. That project has received its environmental sign off through the DE addition federal money. If you recall, the TAP or Transportation Alternative Programs is federal money. The borough received $343,000 towards that project from that program. That's the first hurdle. The next hurdle is the review of the actual plans. I have submitted everything to DOT for review. There's a few revisions that I'm working on to incorporate basically some of the conditions that were just constructed as part of the Temple road project. And I've been waiting for this last piece between Firth and Van Sant to complete so I can resubmit the plans to them. That is looking to add another 30,000 gallons of underground stormwater storage. And then the last part of this massive 3-phase project is the stormwater basin at Public Works, or a surge basin, if you will, in the grass field there, right to the right behind the recycle bins when you come in. That project, there's some jurisdictional issues I'm working on through the review for the federal portion of the Firth and Temple project and the basin. But as I get them worked out, that project hopefully will proceed, and we're looking at an additional 175,000 gallons of storage. I'm hopeful that if the state is quick in its turnaround of the reviews, that we could see both of these projects go out to bid in hopefully September of this year. But I can guarantee you that I will turn around any comments they ask of me within reason, within no more than 2 weeks, but I can't guarantee you how long it will take them to review things. The local DOT has been pretty good about turning things around in about 2 to 3 weeks. So hopefully that will continue. So with any luck, through the winter in the next spring, we'd see these 2 projects also be getting constructed and improved. Anything else on these projects you want me to add, John, or is that?
I didn't have anything else on these projects, Your Honor.
All right. The only other one I see on the list that I thought you might want me to mention is that I have provided you the draft of the Harbor Drive evaluation.
That's a good point. We should take that right now, if you're okay with that, Your Honor. Bill has provided me with a draft of that report. Sorry to steal your thunder there, Bill. But I note that Board President Rick Dreby is on tonight, so that's very timely. As I indicated, Bill provided the report to me on Friday. I am still going through it. It is not a public document yet, but what I'd like to do is, for everyone's edification, the summary of findings, and I'm reading from the report, and the exhibits are much thicker document. Based on the preceding discussion, and then that's pages 1 through 9 of Bill's report. Based on the preceding discussion, several items were identified wherein Harbor Drive did not meet current standards, which is not a shock to anyone, of course, as it was constructed in the 70s. And then the following items were noted, and Bill lists 19 items here that he points out, and also a number of recommendations, another 17 recommendations. And I won't mention the numbers tonight, but also a cost estimate for bringing, the roadway up to current specifications. That's just, a half a page of the entire report. After I review it, Your Honor, I'll have a chance to speak to Bill. Whatever amendments may be necessary, I can then forward final documents. Bill can make them for everybody on the governing body. At that point, it becomes a public document, and the harbor, for instance, would be entitled to a copy of the report.
Anybody have any?
Anybody?
Gina, can you pull that microphone closer to you? Say something. Can't hear you at all.
John's microphone's muted now, so I guess my suggestion earlier didn't really work. If it's just difficult to hear.
Yeah.
Gina, but then
it has to come through the speaker inside the building.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Just got to talk into that microphone. Thanks.
We're going to go to public comment. We request that those participating wishing to add or make a public comment, email their questions or comments in advance to Municipal Clerk Rita Jackson at bjackson@borough.com. The opportunity to submit comments prior to the meeting expires at 12 p.m. on Monday, July 19th, 2021. You must include meeting questions / comments in the subject line and your name and full address for your comment to be considered valid. Comments submitted in a timely and complete manner will be reviewed and read during the virtual council meeting. It may be necessary to follow up with the person submitting a comment at a later date. All comments can become a part of the record and included with the meeting minutes. For those who choose to attend the meeting, Captain. The virtual, I will open up the meeting to the public for the comments. Comments motion to, open.
Motion open.
Yeah,
Second.
on favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Rita, did we have any comments coming in?
I do have one that I started with. It reads as follow. To Mayor Tate and Borough Council, thank you for having me this past year as your student representative. I appreciate being a member of council and further appreciate your efforts of including the younger generation in municipal government. I have received valuable knowledge through this experience, learning more in depth the work and leadership that is needed to manage the borough. I wish the best of luck to everyone, and I am looking forward to continue watching Palmyra grow. I'd like to thank Mr. Almond for answering any questions the representatives had and for leading the integration of our age group into Borough Council. Sincerely, best regards, Andrew Yancic. That's the only comment that I have.
Thank you. Okay, I see Catherine first. Come on. I see you.
I didn't write in, but can I make a comment?
Hold on a second. I have people
Okay.
here that already have their hands raised. So
Okay, I don't know how it
I'm going to
works.
ask everybody to raise their hands, and in the order that I saw you, I'm going to allow them to speak. Okay?
Okay, can you just remember me at the end? Because I don't know how to raise my hand.
Okay. Okay. First one.
Well, wait a second, we got Catherine in front of us.
Second. It is.
Kathleen Ricks, 1074 Harbor Drive, Building 6. I have a question. I think we overlooked the apple tree on the development.
Actually, and Andy Brewer did give that update. He did. It was real quick. We have a court hearing on October 27th.
August
determine-
27th.
August. Thank you, Andy. August 27th to determine value of the property.
Oh.
That's the only thing that's going on. Final value.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay. The next person up is, where'd you go? Valerie Still?
Yep, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, my name is Valerie Still. I'm a resident of 414 Veterans Drive, and I'm representing my neighbors as well, so I'll take their minutes. They may be on, they may not. We were affected by the storm July 12th, on Monday, last week. And we need some answers. We need lots of answers, and we're wondering, where was any help from the borough? Monday night, I was taking care of my sister because she's not been well. And I got a call from my neighbor to come right home that our backyard had flooded. Our yard has never flooded like that before. And I'm listening to all these, comments about how we've, I guess, got more storage for rain and all that. Our backyards have never flooded. My yard, the water came up to my fence, and I was in 4 feet of water when I called the mayor. I didn't know what else to do. You think the first person you're going to call is your mayor. I called the mayor, and it was discouraging, the response that I got, just to be polite about it. I'm not going to go into what she said exactly. She can tell you what she said, but it was very discouraging because this is the time of need. I've had my house since 1992. We have not seen the borough at all. I haven't seen them once. I've heard they stopped by with things, but I've been out of hot water. I just took a cold shower. I've gotten 2 hours, 3 hours to sleep. The neighbors, we're taking out our own carpet. We're taking out, there's mold and mildew. The borough of Palmyra has not helped us one bit, besides putting out a dumpster, which I can show you. It's full. It's been full since probably 2 days ago when it came, because that's how much stuff is in there. So I was going to plan a statement, but it's been so overwhelming. It's not just about the things that have but we want to know why this happened, because Friday night it rained harder and we were up because we were nervous about what had already happened. And there was no flooding at all. And part of it, we believe, we're doing our own investigation, is that there's something going on with the drainage system and we haven't heard about it. And, you know, to sit back, to hear all, you know, I'm hearing all of this, and it's good, life goes on, I understand that. But when a citizen, when a resident is in need, that's when we need our leaders the most. And, you know, people in the United States are so discouraged. This is not about Democrats, Republican. I've gotten away from that because it doesn't matter, Democrat or Republican, because it showed on Monday night, no one showed up to help us. We were in 4 feet of water and no one came to help us. And we've been that way the whole, I still don't have hot water. So, and I know people say, well, you know, you should have flood insurance, you should have this, you did. We want to know why the water flooded over top on Market Street. I heard it's never flooded like that before. Again, I'm not from this area. I bought the house in 1992 for my parents. They never had water like that. So we want to have some answers, and we want to know what we can do to get things happening and to get the assistance that we need. So yeah, I'm a little testy right now. I'm trying to keep it not emotional, but that's easier said than done when you come into a crisis. And basically my life, I had lots of important things. Whether it's my mom from the ABL champ, the first women's professional championship, was sitting out in the driveway, it flooded. My dad's rotor tiller flooded, everything flooded. I lost my son. I have one son. I had a miscarriage before him and after him. He's dear to me. I kept everything. I had his baby stuff. That's an umbilical cord right there. As gross as that may seem, that's how I am. I'm a historian. I've got my house now, right now, I can show you around. It's packed jam. I'm sitting in a tiny little space because we can't keep, we don't have any storage. If we had a storage unit, we could put our stuff there and then get things out. We have no help and nobody's talking about it. This meeting tonight was all about all the grand things that are going on, and that's fantastic. I'm all about positivity. That's me. But when you have residents in need, dire need, and no one comes and helps or asks you, I called Troy Singleton the day after, and Troy always is like this. He may not be able to help, or his assistant, I talked to him, but he'll say, Val, let me hear, call these people, call this, we'll do this, tell me that. He called back again the next day, and I haven't heard anything. I didn't hear anything back from anybody until today because I've been sending emails. I sent an email that Gina Tate called her Friday or Monday when it happened, and I was informed that, you know, it was flooding all over, and even floods in her house, and she really couldn't do anything. The fire department came, turned off my gas and electric, didn't supply any water. I'm in 4 feet of water, and I live with myself and my cat. So if that's the way Palmyra wants to be represented right now, I have friends from across the country, from across the world. They want to know what they can do, and we'll probably plan some kind of charity event for my neighbors who have helped me put stuff in the dumpster. I helped my neighbor tear out his carpet. Where are you all? I'm wondering, where are you? What do we have to do? And John, we had this. Luther and I came to the borough last year because there was something going on after you all had been working on the, or I forget, it might have been for the curbs or whatever, but there was something strange going on, and we still think there's we want to know why this is happening and why that water right where our drain storage is just trickled over that and flooded into my backyard. I mean, do you guys have any answers for that?
What do you say?
And I have a really hard time hearing Gina because, and you know, I've been to council meetings from other cities and all. I can't hear a thing that's really going on. I can hear you, John, but I can't hear. It's really discouraging not being able to, you know, hear what's going on.
What I'll do, what we'll do for everyone's benefit is see all the sound. There's a few of us here at Borough Hall, so all of the sound is being filtered through my laptop. That's how you're able to hear it. So you can hear me best. You can hear me best, But that's why you can't hear the mayor and others probably. I just wanted to make that clear.
Oh, and by the way, I have a drain around my whole house. So and when the fire department came, they even said, you know, you have what, and it was pumping out. It was pumping out, you know, the water as fast as it was coming in, but that water flooded over. And I hear that on Market Street, that's never happened before. So why wasn't somebody checking? I mean, that's an easy thing. It's over flooding like that. Let's send somebody out, man. That's not normal.
If I may, Your Honor. Valerie, everyone is sympathetic and empathetic. You know, it wasn't just you and your neighbors that suffered.
I know that.
It was, you know, I think everyone needs to appreciate what happened last Monday night. They're calling literally the rainstorm of the last 100 years. It was that significant, 7.5 to 8 inches in less than 2 hours of rain. There is no drainage system anywhere that can handle that. They were, I mean, if you look regionally, there is a video being circulated of a guy in a motorboat right down the street here in Riverton. In a motorboat in Riverton. The same storm, Bucks County, is still underwater. We have, your property, Valerie, is in the 100-year floodplain. It literally runs right straight through your property and your neighbor's property. Not about 1/3 of Palmyra is in the 500-year floodplain. But there's also a significant portion, which is your specific neighborhood and the area at Temple and Firth Boulevard, which is in the 100-year floodplain. And that's essentially what we had. That much water. Borough Hall flooded. The police are in the process of potentially moving to the community center because Borough Hall flooded the basement. It was just an overwhelming amount of water. I mean, that happens all across the country. No matter the best planning in the world, we can't hold back the river. That's just the way that is. All of this water that fell in that short period of time has to go somewhere. The drain system can't support it. And unfortunately, it drains right towards the river. In your case, we actually have 2 separate drainage systems. The one on Temple Boulevard, which handles most of the community, drains through Public Works and out through the inlet in the river over by the riverfront and Willow Shores. The system that controls your specific neighborhood, Veterans Drive, Market Street, that actually drains to the drainage ditch along the Delaware River. So Ernie McGill, our superintendent of Public Works, anticipating the storm a week ago Monday, cleaned all of the inlets on that day and did them again on Friday in anticipation of this weekend storm. Obviously, the storms just bring more debris and clog them up again, but in anticipation of Monday's storm and this weekend storm, Public Works did that. And to say that the borough, you know, we do as much as we can do, Valerie, you know, when the fire department or the police department or Public Works or Office of Emergency Management responds, that is the borough responding. It's a seamless process. So it may seem like it's disparate organizations, you know, doing their own thing, but that is the well-planned borough's response to incidents of this sort. You know, I don't know how else to say it other than we recognize that there's a problem, especially at Temple Boulevard, Firth Lane neighborhood. Public Works, the sewer plant was underwater, under a foot of water. We all saw that, right? We have that video. Okay, so the borough, we have property insurance, of course, through the Burlington County Municipal Joint Insurance Fund. But that doesn't cover floods. So we have separate flood policies for the Public Works and sewer plant. It costs us $60,000, $62,000 a year for that additional level of insurance. But that's, you know, unfortunately, in the society we live in, that's how these things are addressed, through insurance that we carry on our properties. Unfortunately, again, you're in a situation where you're in a floodplain. You know, you can debate the need for flood insurance or not, but
What if we find that, what if we find something else? What if we find there was a obstruction, or then what rights, or what are we able to do in that case if we find that there's some type of neglect? Is there a route that we can go?
Well, I work for the Borough of Palmyra, right? So I'm really not in a position to be able to answer that question for you, right?
Okay.
I'm giving you my best interpretation of what we are.
I rode around the city that the day afterwards. Most all the drains were cleared, but the two behind my house weren't.
And Valerie,
So
think what
you're saying they just by chance they cleared all you just said that.
What I said was all of the drains were cleared on Monday, the day of the storm, a week ago. And they were cleared again on Friday, 3 days ago, in anticipation of this weekend storm. That's what I said, and that's what occurred. Those drains were cleared on Market, all of the vulnerable areas 1 week ago. I don't know if Ernie is on this call yet or not. He has his own meeting tonight, but Ernie can tell you himself that he had those clean, all of those drains cleaned.
We cleaned those physically on Tuesday after we saw that.
Well,
but you're saying what days did he clean that before
on Monday, the day of the storm.
What Monday? So Monday the 12th, it would have been the 7th. He cleaned it Monday the 12th. So before the storm, they came through and cleaned those drains.
That's correct. And he cleaned them again on Friday, knowing that we had more storms planned for this weekend.
The flood warnings were coming early, so that's why the public works was out there doing it. Listen, we have an Office of Emergency Management that has a direct line to that information and forwards us continually. So when we get that notice, we react to it. If the storms, are anticipated to be extreme, which they were the last 2 weeks, the last 7 or 8 days, we do everything in our power to minimize the damage to the greatest extent possible. We all live here.
When it's flooding like that, why not go around? If it's just certain areas, check those drains. And since they're already monitoring them, you said from the beginning, you see something abnormal that hasn't happened before, then there's something that's abnormal. So if they checked them before because they were preparing, why not see that everybody's calling in, there's really flooding on Market right in that area? Why not check those? I saw the police the other night. It was flooding on Market, and it's the intersection right before you get to Nick Express Friday night, because it was starting to puddle there. The police drove around while I was monitoring the outside where those other drains are. So you're saying that they are monitoring them, but when it's a storm like that, then they're not going to, like in the middle of it with that kind of rain.
Valerie, I didn't say anything like that. And I think I'm being pretty clear about it, right? We cleaned those storms the day of the storm a week ago. They were cleared. We cleared them again, all of them, on Friday of this week in anticipation of the storms that that were forecast for this weekend. We cleaned those storm drains. We clean them when we drive by, when they see them, whatever the case. The police, as you just pointed out, they see it, they do it too. Okay? This is a team effort. We keep those drains clear. So this is not a case of drains being clogged. This is a case of too much water that no drain system can handle. And you live in a 100-year floodplain. Well, I appreciate that, okay? And I understand, and I'm just trying to be as clear as I know how to be, okay? We had an unprecedented rain event. There's no doubt about that, okay? Look no further than Temple and Firth. As bad as your neighborhood had it, and I don't mean to minimize that, Temple and Firth, Public Works area was under more than a foot of water. It was simply that much water that can't be managed. And you know what we are talking about?
I had 4 feet of water in my house. Four.
Of course, we appreciate that, and I understand, Valerie. All of this water, okay, that is accumulating.
It came right over top where
here, and throughout the region, drains right to the river. That's what happens.
we go so far as to monitor on a monthly basis groundwater levels. And Bill Kirshner, who's still on, we put in 5 monitoring wells. How long ago was that, Bill?
I want to say around 3 years ago.
3 years ago. On a monthly basis, Bill sends to me groundwater level monitoring reports, okay? Initially, we used to put them on the website, posted those reports on our website. However, the water receded. This was back a number of years ago. Remember, many people were pumping water out of their basements. This is when we bought pumps to lend to residents so they could pump out their basements directly into the street or into the storm drain system, whatever. That water receded. It's now, even the last report I received from Bill was on Friday, so he probably took that data in the days just, I'm sorry, I meant to say on Monday. I think it was, Bill. In the days just prior to that, read that data and forwarded it to me. That was, you told me it was an average level for the last 3 years. Is that correct?
Actually, it was an average level for since levels had returned to the low end from when we first started.
All right, thank you for clarifying that. So what was groundwater level, say, for instance, in generally speaking? I think you said 3 or 4 feet?
Yes, I'm trying to look up the results while you're talking. Give me a moment.
My point is this: we go to great lengths to try to monitor to the greatest extent possible potential for flooding throughout our community, and we plan ahead to try to do as much as we can to mitigate it. The system that we're talking about, that Bill's talking about for the flood mitigation system at Temple and Firth, and the storm drainage system, costs us $850,000. $850,000 is what we're going to spend. $250,000 is on the agenda, the capital ordinance for tonight, for that storm basin alone. We spend a lot of money to try to stay ahead of this, but sometimes there's just too much water that for any mechanism or any system to be able to manage. That's just what happened to us.
So, like, I live right, can you hear me? I live right at Temple and Firth, where John is speaking of. And I've lived there for 21 years, and we've never seen that much water in that intersection. And we've had floods before. I've had a basement like yours about 3 years ago. And it wasn't even as bad as it was, last Monday. So I do hear you. I understand what you're saying. That whole flood insurance piece of it is part of our gig, but it never covers anything unless it's a horrific event that occurs, that flood insurance, like it has to be a natural disaster, which to me, a flood in my basement that destroys my whole house is a natural disaster to me, but it wasn't covered 3 years ago. So we have had these problems too, but I have to say, like John is right, we've never seen, it was almost like a river at one point. There were 5 cars trying to drive through, and they all stopped all at once. We had 5 stalled cars, it was just awful. It was just beyond what I have ever seen in 20 years. So I just wanted to let you know, I get it.
I think another analogy that's important for people to understand, this was, certainly a disaster, and it had a profound effect on our residents. We want to be as helpful as possible. We do. I mean, that's our goal. We only have the resources available to us that we have available to us. But I think a point I was thinking about over the weekend, and I was in communication with Fire Chief Rick Drevey. We have more than 50 calls for fire service to residents' homes every year. So we're talking about a fire in somebody's house about once a week. During that year, we have about 1 fire that burns a house literally to the ground, where it's uninhabitable, no roof over their head. They lost every single thing they ever owned, okay? And these are disasters that don't just happen, with a once in 100-year flood. This is something that happens to somebody on a weekly basis, and in the case of their house burning to the ground, once a year. So obviously they are disasters too. And the borough responds. We put the fires out literally and figuratively. We do what we can to help them. these are crises, certainly for the people that are affected by it, but for us too. We can only, I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know how I can answer any more of your questions. We also, Tracy Kilmer. Tracy wears a lot of hats. She's also a member of our Office of Emergency Management. Tracy, since last Monday, has been working tirelessly with you, Valerie, and other residents, trying to collect as much information as possible from residents who have experienced damage, whatever the case may be, and working with the County Office of Emergency Management in the hopes that we can get emergency funding for residents like you to help you out and the other people who were affected most by this. Now, the county tells us we may not have reached that threshold, and we've identified so far, Tracy, correct me if I'm wrong, over $600,000 in estimated damages. The governor doesn't declare a state of emergency, which is not helpful to us. Office of Emergency Management, we may not have suffered enough individual damages, okay, to qualify to get to whatever threshold that we have to get to for them to give us funding. But it didn't stop Tracy from working overtime. And John Skoronsky and Rick Drevey, the other members of our Office of Emergency Management and members of the fire department, to gather this information to try to get something for you. We don't know. It was due today. Tracy submitted it. I have the report. Hopefully the county, they're successful in convincing the state that we need emergency funding to support you and folks like you. But we're not static, okay? We are always thinking and planning about how we can mitigate disasters for all of us. We're all in this together. What I suggest is, and I look today, Valerie, and it's unbelievable, really. Tracy is also our floodplain manager and has one of the best ratings in the county, community rating system, FEMA community rating system. Tracy is one of the best in the county. And as a result of that, the benefits to our residents is they are able to purchase flood insurance at a lower rate. All of this information is on our website. There is a flood map on our website. So if you go to, again, Office of Emergency Management, you click through, you'll see the map for Palmyra, flooding map. And that map shows the 500-year and the 100-year floodplain. Unbelievable as it may seem, Valerie, the 100-year floodplain literally crosses right through the middle of your property. And then all of your neighbors, it encompasses them even more so, like 412, 410, 408, 406 veterans, that they're all right in the 100-year floodplain. So, you look at those things in theory and you think, I guess it's a potential, it could happen, but it did happen. We had a rain event that was just unprecedented. And that map was not inaccurate. Everybody in that floodplain suffered as a result of it, the borough included. We suffered maybe as much as $100,000 in damages in our police department, but in the public works and the sewer departments, again, that was just underwater. We need, if you find something, Valerie, okay, that you think that we can do better, we want to know about it because we want to do it better. But we don't spare a single penny in trying to do what we think is right to get out in front of these sorts of situations. And again, I think the fact that we're putting all of this new drainage on Temple and at Temple and Firth at a cost, at significant cost, they're the things that we can do. I don't know. I'm sorry for going on. I don't know if I.
Thank you. Valerie, does it answer any questions? Valerie, you still there?
I'm here. Yep.
Does that answer any of your questions?
Oh no, that's mean, it's saddening, but you know, and I think that's where our country has, you know, just to end on a note, because I think, you know, people are so discouraged that we're already in a pandemic. You know, people are discouraged with, you know, Democrats, Republicans, and you know, this is a time we can all come together and to just not have any assistance from the people that you put your, you know, your trust in, and you know, it's just discouraging. So we will make do. The neighbors we've pulled together, but it definitely won't be because of Palmyra, that's for sure. And that's what's saddening, because I love Palmyra. You know, my mother loved Palmyra. She graduated high school from here. My father's from Delaire. She's from East Riverton. But this experience here, and I did everything I needed to do to protect myself, and still from something that had nothing to do with me, you know, this happened. So I get what you're saying, and you know, go from there.
Excuse me, Valerie, how you doing? Farrah Jenkins, and I want to just acknowledge that I hear you, and I just couldn't imagine being in your predicament or any of the other people in town experiencing that. So I am sorry to hear that. But I just have a question, because I've heard so much from, you know, everyone here. What is your expectation from the borough? I don't think I've actually heard that. Like, you know, I hear you saying, all right, the borough, they didn't do anything and stuff like that. What is your expectation for the borough to do? Like what?
My damages that at least hot water. And I know they're saying, you know, that's your responsibility. I have insurance. I always had insurance on my house. But again, if this was due to something that could have been, you know, avoided, then I can't see that. They can tell me to cut my grass outside. Tracy was on me about cutting my grass outside, which I let it grow a little longer because my sister's sick. So, and I went right out the day she said it and cut that. All I'm asking is do your job then. Protect your citizens in case of a storm like this, which everybody knew was coming. And if you don't, if it happens the way it did and it's not, there's a reason for it, then give assistance, give support to your citizens, to the residents. That's what I'm saying.
I definitely hear that. But what,
and I can't get back the things I lost, Miss G. I'm not sure of your first name. The things I lost, the things I had to throw, I'm taking it. I can't. There's not a price on that.
Of course not. Of course. But I guess my concern, and I live here too, you know, I'm just trying, and I'm new here too, you know, but I'm trying to figure this out, because this is an issue. You know, if we are, you know, spending everybody's tax dollars to put in more drainage and fix the streets and, you know, do all of these things, then is that not the borough trying to prepare these things in advance? And that this rain thing was just for, you know, it was nature, and it just hit before all of those things could be finished. I mean, even with Mr. Kurtz, you know, what he's saying far as still waiting on stuff to fix the streets, and people could barely get in and out of their driveways for the last couple of weeks, like just trying to get those things. Could we, and I know we could argue about this, and this by no means diminish anything that you said here today, but I'm just saying, like, as individuals, what more could we do but try to put in better drainage, or try to fix the piping, or, you know, what more humanly possible could we have done? You know, you understand what I mean? It's like, it's one of those catch-22 things. So, I mean, even going forward, John, like in those areas, you know, when you go and apply for mortgages and stuff like that, I mean, I know I'm in the process of doing that right now myself. And when it comes to those flood zone, that 100, that old drainage system that you was explaining, all of that, isn't that discussed when you go and purchase in that area? Is that information available to the mortgage people or to the surveyor or the, I mean, I've always been notified if I needed, flood insurance in that particular area. Is that happening? Do we, you know what I mean? Are we doing what we have to do as a borough to make sure that that information is available to whomever needs it?
Farrah, I think we do make that information available. If there's a better way of getting it out there, by all means. If, again, Tracy is our floodplain manager, has an excellent rating, best in the county, okay? She's done a lot of work. It's all on our website, including the flood map, 500 and 100-year flood zone, floodplain maps are on there, and again, this information is helpful when you go to buy flood insurance, which I know it's expensive and it doesn't do what you expect it to do. But, at least we're trying to take some initiative to, make these services as, cost beneficial as possible. I don't know what else to say about it, but go to Public Safety, Office of Emergency Management. Again, you can click through, you can see all of this information. There's a lot on there, and Tracy is always available to assist. Mayor, I did get a text message from Fire Chief and OEM Coordinator Rick Dreby asking if he could speak too. So I thought, I would pass that on to you.
Well, Valerie and all the other friends, and this is a loss either way we look at it, and I'm sorry this happened to you guys.
Dreby wants to speak. Okay, go on.
He may not be able to hear you, Rick. The mayor is
Rick,
asking.
you still on? Is there anything else that you, Valerie, we don't want to?
I'm good. Thank you.
Can we take Mindy?
Michelle, did you have a comment?
No, I was just.
Not you.
Remember Mindy, sorry.
Not Michelle McCann, Michelle Ray. She had her hand raised.
Oh, hi. Not a comment, a question, because I'm looking at the ordinances and resolutions that are always on the agendas and the minutes. Where are they housed on the website? Because when I go to codes and ordinances, there's nothing there more recent than 2018. And when I go to index, they're not in numerical order, like the 2021.10, they're only named, like I don't know where to see them, so that I can educate myself and know the justification for them.
Do you want to answer that?
All the ordinances and resolutions, all the ordinances, and ordinance is a law, okay? They are all in E-code. So if you're looking for something specific in regards to an ordinance, if you go to E-code, you put in what you're looking for and it will tell you, and it'll tell you the number of the ordinance that corresponds with it. Resolutions are not posted on the website. If you're looking for something specific regarding a resolution, you would have to contact me via OPA request and I can get it for you.
But Michelle, you can get E-code as a phone app. So I actually, as a council member, I have it on my phone as an app from the App Store.
And it runs through the website.
Oh, cool. Okay.
It's on the website. If you go to the website and you go under codes and ordinances, it'll take you to E-code, which has them all listed. That answer your question?
Not really, because I'm on the website under codes and ordinances. I don't see anything about E-code.
Hold on a second, because I'm going to go there with you then. Okay.
Michelle, was there anything in specific that you were looking for that maybe one of us can help you with?
No, I just want to know where this money's being spent. Like I see the resolutions and the ordinances, and I don't see the history. I don't know, how they came about, like what the justification of them were.
So it sounds like you may want to also, you just want to, I would go to Rita and I would just Oprah the last, the last minutes from since we started the year. And that would be great reading because it'll tell you all of that information.
I mean, I've been reading the minutes, and it's where I get summaries, but to me, there's got to be more detail than a summary of how a law came into being.
You need to attend the meetings, but also when.
Well, I've been attending the meetings also, and they're just recited, and everybody agrees and moves on. But instead of holding up a meeting by asking about it, I figured I could go to the website and educate myself.
No, that's why you come to the meetings though, Michelle, because if something needs to be discussed or you have questions, that's what we do right then and there. And then we'll even pull that from the minutes if it needs further discussion. That's the whole point of having the meetings, Michelle, just FYI. Anytime you feel any kind of way, you say it. That's why they open up the floor. And if it needs more discussion, if we can't have it right then and there, we'll pull that from being voted on, and it'll come back the following meeting.
Okay.
Okay, and if you're on the website and you go to code and ordinances, right underneath it, you'll see HHTP www.ecode. And if you click on ecode, it'll take you to all the codes and ordinances of the borough.
Okay. I see at ecode360.com. That's what's coming up.
That's it.
Rita, can you unmute Rick, please?
Sure.
And quote me if I'm wrong, John, because I'm just thinking back. When we discuss the budget and how we gonna spend the money, when we do that in the beginning of the year, we just talk about all the things that we want to do, and we put that information out there, and we come back and vote on it later in the months, correct?
Yes, yes, correct. So what typically happens, and that's a very good point, the more significant things that require capital improvement type funding, and coincidentally, those ordinances are on the agenda for tonight for your approval. So we actually, there's a detailed cost estimates and spreadsheets that are provided to the governing body and department heads and such, and we discuss the capital improvements at the budget hearing in March or early April, whenever we have that meeting, and it's approved at that time. But then the next step is really what is taking place tonight. The actual ordinance is on the agenda, approving all of the various improvements that you want to make that were discussed during the budget process. That is also published in the newspaper. And as Rita indicated, it can be found on Ecode 360 as well. So I think that answers your question, Barry.
Okay. So the point of me asking that, Michelle, is just so you can have better understanding of where to go look for those things, how to get some of that information before it gets to the point where now we're just going yes or no. And that was something I had to learn myself, in this process, just how it works going from the creation of what everybody wants to do and then actually making that happen. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Okay. So
basically, even if you don't make a meeting, you still want to try to get the meeting, what the agenda, and I know Rita usually puts that out a couple of days before the meeting. So that way, say you can't make the meeting because, a lot of people can't, but then that gives you the opportunity to send your comments to Rita. And those are the comments that she's reading. The people who looked at the agenda or had questions about something that we were going to talk about. And that's how they get their comments into the record. And even your comment goes into the meeting, meeting minutes.
Okay.
Thank you, Val. Now, Vic. Unmuted.
Rick, I cannot unmute your phone. You have to do it yourself. And I think Mindy has a comment.
Okay, Mindy.
Yes.
Can you hear me,
hi.
Rita?
Yes, I can.
Wait.
Hold on, Mindy.
Go ahead, Rick.
All right, I just wanted to touch on two things that Valerie brought up in reference to the storm. One, the fire department does not and has not for as long as we've been around pump out basements, because when we get inundated with calls, we just don't have the opportunity or the time to do that. Secondly, when these storms hit, and this was a 100-year storm, high tide was right around the same time. And that's a double disaster when that happens. Just to make sure everybody is aware, I mean, I heard Michelle talk about Firth Lane and Valerie talk about what happened on Veterans Drive, but the water on Route 73 was at the top of the Jersey barrier. We had people trapped in their cars on 73. We had people trapped in their cars at Highland and South Broad. The police station was flooded out on South Broad Street. So when that storm hit and the tide is up, the water has no place to go in its natural storm drainage system that goes to the river. And this has happened before. It's not the first time. Market Street's flooded before. 73's flooded. Mostly any bad storm we have, 73 under the railroad bridge floods. And we had people out there in all those different locations, along with help from Cinnaminson, to try to rescue these people and get them out of the issue and out of the hazard they were in. So when we have storms like this, we get inundated with calls. From the perspective of the emergency management, as John spoke, we have been working since last Monday to try to see if we can get funding and assistance through the county and the state. But there's a threshold that has to be met by the county, and the state has to make a declaration of an emergency, which they have not done. We submitted that stuff today, hoping that maybe we will be able to get some kind of funding, but there is no guarantee. So I just want to rest assured, from the perspective of both the fire department and the Office of Emergency Management, we did everything we could. And like I said, we are all volunteer fire department with about 20 people, and we were inundated with calls, as you can imagine. So we do work hand in hand with the borough on everything that we can help them with and do. And that night, because of the tide and because of the amount of rain you had in a short period of time, it was just too much for the system to handle, and certainly for any emergency response personnel to really help a lot. The emergency management people followed up afterwards and got the kits, buckets, and so forth that we could give out to the residents to help them in some way. We made sure that we had requests for the dumpster got placed. So we did everything we could, and we'll continue to work to try to get funding, but the chances of getting it are probably pretty slim, only because of the disaster and the amount of threshold the whole county has to meet, not just Palmyra. So I just wanted to put that out there for record so that everybody's aware of what we did and what was going on. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Go ahead, Mindy.
Hi. I have a comment about parking. Are you going to open it up when you get to that ordinance?
Parking is in for first reading, so there's no public comments.
Okay, so then now's my time. I am not aware if I wanted to talk about the 15-minute time slot, and I'm not aware if there was a change made. One of the 15-minute time spots was supposed to be on Cinnaminson Avenue by the Barbers, Jenny's, what used to be Mama's Cookies. And last I heard, that 15-minute spot was going to be at the top of the street at Cinnaminson. Is that still the case, or has it been adjusted?
That has not been adjusted, okay? Actually, the copy of the ordinance that the governing body has in their packet tonight was exactly what I was distributed to all of them and to you, Mindy, a couple weeks ago, and to the chief, of course. We still have to make final measurements. And to answer your question real quick, if I may, Your Honor, one of the things that I wanted to confirm with the governing body tonight was the exact location of the spot that you're talking about. Also, the spot generally in the other two 15-minute spots. I just wanted to, since you questioned them, I want to make sure everybody that understands where they're going. So I had intended to ask the mayor if I could have that discussion, not with the public, but with them when it came up on the agenda.
Okay. Is it okay if I share my 2 cents in relation to it now? So my thought is to have a 15-minute spot right at the corner, which I think was suggested by Chief Perlman when we discussed this, when I was helping with this. But I would like to strongly suggest that we move that spot more towards the middle of the block. And there's a few reasons for that. So one is, as a matter of convenience for the people that need that 15-minute spot, a lot of times you're going to have to wait for the light to go to even get that spot. So you'll sat through a whole cycle. The second reason is I feel like in order to get that spot, you're going to put your right-hand turn signal on, and you're kind of going to have to go into Cinnaminson to back up into it if it's a parallel parking type thing or a half a parallel parking type thing. And if you put your turn signal on, then it might look like you're making a right, but then you're stopping. And I feel like it may have more reason. It may be more of a problem at that point than a help. If people think, people behind that person who's using that spot, if they think that they're going to make a right, but really they're just moving up to back up to get into that spot. So I feel like there's that challenge. And also I think I was over. What's that?
So you're saying you want it in the middle instead of at the top?
Yeah, I'm suggesting that it would do better in the middle, because you have there's a restaurant type place or a takeout place that's right there, and then there's Jenny's, and those are the 2 places that people are kind of popping in and out of. So it's more convenient for the guest or the resident who's visiting those establishments. And then also because I think it's just a little scary to have it at the corner, again, like I was just saying with that right-hand turn. But then third, I was there today, and the trash can was full. And so what I understand is sometimes it's hard for Public Works to get in that spot because there's cars parked there. So it may actually even help make it a little easier for that trash can to be emptied over there.
I understand that, but I'm trying to picture, I think if it was me driving into that 15-minute spot, I would want it onto the top spot because it's easier in and out. You're not parallel parking back and forth and holding up traffic before you, behind you. And I mean, I mentioned that to John when we were talking about it, but I just think it would be easier on that top spot.
Okay.
There's also no reason why you can't have 2 15-minute parking spots there. I don't disagree at all with what Mindy is suggesting. And I agree with you as well, Mayor. I think what you presented to the businesses, however, was that first spot closest to Broad Street, right? That's what was presented to the businesses and reflected in the documents that you have. So I kind of think you should stick with that. But if you wanted to add a second 15-minute spot, what Mindy is really referring to is the last parallel parking spot in the time limit zone, which is essentially right after the entrance to the Borough parking lot or in front of Tony's Barbershop. That's what Mindy is suggesting.
Actually, I wasn't, John, but I like that idea better because then because that handles Gina's concern as well as mine. I'm a Philly girl, so I like to parallel park, but also I would think at this point, I would suggest not to have 2 15-minute spots because we do have the salons over there. And one of the reasons we started, or one of the main considerations when we started this, was that those women who have salons there, they need a nice amount of time to do their hair. And so I feel like there's quite a few of those. And there may even be more hair salons than, run in and out kind of shops. But so I don't know about two 15-minute spots. I'd be afraid to speak on that without talking to the businesses. But if you would strongly consider putting that 15-minute spot by the parking lot in front of Tony's as opposed to at Cinnaminson, I think that's a nice compromise. And I don't know, maybe, I don't recall why Chief Perlman suggested that. So maybe, maybe Chief Campbell has an idea or something, but I definitely like that parking lot spot better. And that's all I have to say.
One end or the other is fine with me, just as long as it's not in the middle and somebody has to try to tell us why if they mess up the first time, they're coming back out, trying again and trying again.
Okay.
That would be me. I mean, it doesn't bother me which end, but I think it needs to be on an end, John.
I mean, but if we go with the last spot, then it's like, it takes care of all of that because the spot in front of Tony's barbershop would be a pull-in. Behind that is his parking lot. So you wouldn't have to really worry about nobody parallel parking. And that spot is close to the two businesses that would need that 15-minute spot, Jenny's and the smoothie shop.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
Okay, well, thanks for letting me share.
All right, thanks for sharing.
All right, peace.
Anybody else? Rita, do you see that would like to say something?
Nope, I don't have anybody else with their hands raised.
All right, may I have a motion to close to the public?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Ordinance on first reading. Public hearing is August 16th. Is ordinance 2021-09. Is an ordinance of the Borough of Palmyra, County of Borough, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 215 of the Code of the Borough of Palmyra entitled Sewers. May I have, does council have any questions?
Your Honor, the only change here is eliminating the need for houses of worship to have to pay the base rate of $746. And since there's about 10 churches in town, it's only an impact of $7,500.
Thank you. May I ask for a motion to approve the ordinance?
So moved.
Second. Roll call, please.
Who was that second?
Michelle.
Okay. Mr. Almond,
Yes.
Mrs. Jenkins,
Yes.
Mrs. McCann,
Yes.
President Howard.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, ordinance, ordinance 2021-10 is on first reading. It's a bond ordinance authorizing the acquisition of various pieces of equipment and completion of various capital improvements in and for the Borough of Palmyra, County of Burlington, New Jersey, County of Burlington, New Jersey, appropriating the sums of $743,700. Therefore, authorizing the issuance of general obligation bonds or bond anticipation notes of the Borough of Palmyra, County of Burlington, New Jersey, in aggregate principal amount of up to $686,090, making certain determination and comments and authorization of certain related actions in connection with the foregoing. This is like capital improvement. Any questions, council? Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Almond,
Yes.
Mrs. Jenkins,
Yes.
Mrs. McCann,
Yes.
President Howard.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, ordinance 2021-11, which is also going to be the public hearing on the 16th. Bond ordinance authorizing the completion of various improvements to the sewer utility systems in and for the Borough of Palmyra, County of Burlington, New Jersey, appropriating the sum of $458,700. Therefore, authorizing the issuance of general bond, obligation bonds or bond anticipation notes of the Borough of Palmyra, County of Burlington, New Jersey, and the aggregate notes of the Borough of Palmyra. No, I'm sorry, aggregate principal amount of up to $458,700, making certain determinations and covenants and authorizing certain related actions in connections with the foregoing. Does council have any questions? Seeing none, may I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Call, please.
Mr. Almond,
Yes.
Mrs. Jenkins,
Yes.
Mrs. McCann,
Yes.
President Howard.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ordinance 2021-12 is an ordinance of the Borough of Palmyra amending chapter 90, vehicles and traffic, 90-6, time limit parking of the Code of Palmyra, and amending time limit provisions, including in ordinance 2016-18.
Your Honor, this is where we need to have a conversation in order to introduce this tonight, and not, and be able to adopt a month from now without any material changes. We have to have a couple of specific conversations here and then follow up with those measurements, right? So the very first one, and a copy of everything that I sent you was in your packet. So it's item number 1 is that perpendicular parking space that Mindy that just referred to when we were discussing. How it's presented in the ordinance is that first parking space closest to Broad Street, right? So what we're suggesting is that perhaps it should be that last parking space in the time limit zone, which is just, a smidgen south of the entrance to the Borough parking lot, right? Essentially in front of Tony's parking. If that's the one that you want to include, we need to state that for the record so there are no questions when this is adopted 30 days from now. So
We would like to state for the record, change where the 15-minute perpendicular parking space to be placed at the first.
it's actually the first one traveling south towards Broad or the last one furthest away from Broad
First one traveling south.
on Broad Street. Okay, towards Broad. And that would be, so there's no confusion, essentially the space in front of Tony's barbershop. All right, so Chief and I will work that out. Okay, that requires new measurements. The other one that we have to discuss is, it's item 11 in your packet. Let me just make sure I'm not skipping anything. No, I'm sorry. It's item number 8. Now, there are 4 perpendicular parking spaces on Broad Street just west of Cinnamon Avenue. And I'm talking about the 4 spaces, the first one being in front of the pharmacy, then Hughes, the third property escapes me, and then Cockadoodle Dance, right? So those 4 spaces before the angle starts, right? We weren't sure which one of those 4 you wanted to address. Initially, we were talking about the one, again, closest to Cinnamon Avenue in this case at the corner, but maybe, maybe it works better if it's one of the other 3. Maybe it's the last one, similar to the conversation we just had. I don't know, but maybe because the one on Cinnamon Avenue is furthest away from the corner, this one should be the one closest to the corner, which is closest to the pharmacy, which I don't,
And it also is in front of the raised beds right there. So if you're parking in that first spot to get out and go around your car, you're pumping into the raised beds. So, if we're eliminating one of them, is that what we're?
No, one of those four would be 15-minute. That's how it was presented. So I guess I'm asking, if you want more than one of them, then we have a lot more work to do. I would not suggest.
No, it doesn't matter. I thought you were.
As long as there's one there, that's.
So we're essentially talking about which one of those four? Would it be the one closest to Cinnaminson?
Does everybody agree? Yeah. Brandon.
All right. I think I have now on to item 11. You know, we in the old days, this is the angle parking spaces between Cinnaminson Avenue and Chestnut. Essentially all the spaces out front here across the street from Borough Hall. You know, at one point it was 2 hours. Most recently, it was amended to 4 hours. That's what all the signage says. There was some talk about making it 6 hours. 4 hours works best, in my opinion. First of all, frankly, the spots are already signed for 4 hours. So that's thousands of dollars in savings if you keep it at that, all right, and man and woman hours. But I just wanted to confirm, you know, the limit on that. Is it 4 or 6?
I agree with 4. 4. Balance is 4.
Okay. Item 14, I don't really, we're just making the time limit there. Again, this is 15-minute parking out in front of the post office. And those hours reflected here are the retail and retail lobby hours of the post office. It's not really a question. That's all. If you're good with all of that, then you can introduce by title tonight. The chief and I'll confirm the measurements for those couple of other spots, and you can adopt 30 days.
Thank you. Any other questions, council? All right, may I have a motion to approve the ordinance, please?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Almond,
Yes.
Mrs. Jenkins,
Yes.
Mrs. McCann,
Yes.
President Howard.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Okay, now we're down to our resolution. Resolution 2021-63 and 2021-68 will be enacted as a single motion. If either resolution, any resolution needs to additional discussion, it will be removed from the consent agreement and voted on separately. Do we need to remove any? Yep. Okay. Resolution 2021-163 is a resolution of the Borough of Palmyra establishing an annual rate of compensation and hourly rates paid to the Borough employees for the year 2021 and 2020. Resolution is 2021-164 is a resolution requesting approval of items of revenue and appropriation N.J.S.40A:4-87, Chapter 159, Alcohol Education Rehab Fund, BWI, in the amount of $3,635.18. Resolution 2021-165 is a resolution authorizing the payment of July 2021 bills in the amount of $1,345,672.74. Resolution 2021-166 is a resolution of the governing body acknowledging receipt and certification of the 2020 municipal audit. 2021-167 is a resolution authorizing approval to submit a grant application and execute grant contract with the New Jersey Department of Transportation for the Walnut Street and West Henley Street resurfacing project. 2021-168 is a resolution authorizing the approval to submit a Jersey Department of Transportation for the Fourth Street reconstruction project. Any questions, council? Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve, please?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Almond,
Yes.
Mrs. Jenkins,
Yes.
Mrs. McCann,
Yes.
President Howard.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. A motion to approve the treasurer's report of June 2021.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Can I go all in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Social permit requests. We have a request for a social permit from the fire department, Palmyra Fire Department. What do we need to do with that?
Approve it.
Just approve it?
Mhm.
Okay. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Public events. Neighbor to neighbor, I tried to start it, it was too hot. So we have postponed it until, I mean, if I see a week that we're not gonna have hot weather, I goes back out. And now we're trying. National Night Out, Tuesday, August 3rd. It's from 8. We will have friends playing from 6 to 8. Come on out and meet our new ops and class 1 police officers. Farmers market, I know, one suggestion was made to me last week in reference to having a borough table at the farmers market. And at that point, we can hopefully we'll speak to our employees and maybe one night, maybe a tax collector be at that time question.
Tangi loves that stuff.
I know she does. And I thought that was a great idea. Mindy brought that up to me, but she's working it out and she will give us information when they know that they're gonna be starting. Townwide yard sale is Saturday, September 19th, 2021, and that's with Bernadette Russell. And as soon as she comes back, we will know more about that. I know I had 2 people ask me about that. Discussion items.
I can be pretty quick, Your Honor.
Okay, go ahead.
Borough Hall staffing, reopening to the public, Legion Field Community Center, council meetings, et cetera. COVID-19 update. We opened Borough Hall to the public on a limited basis beginning 1 week ago. Michelle Sykes was recalled and has been leading that effort. 3 days a week, Dale Palmer, head of maintenance, is taking care of it for us on the 4th day. We're essentially open from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. to the public. There's some rules, they're all posted. Masks, of course, and we're limiting the number of people in Borough Hall at any one time. It has really gone very smoothly. Just a couple of minor complaints about mask wearing, but nothing at all that's, over the top. So, I think we're averaging about 15 or 20 people a day in total. So I think it's, worked out pretty good. Michelle, again, she's handling Legion Field requests, and we're getting quite a few for community center, maybe 8 or 10 over the last couple of week and a half or so anyway. And we're basically telling them that, obviously the community center isn't open at this time. We have another restriction, which may, again, be the police department, which we talked about earlier, perhaps moving in there. It is open every Tuesday, however, for COVID-19 vaccinations. Council meeting, this actually, was our first hybrid meeting. half of the governing, 2 members of the governing body here, the rest it remotely. So it seemed to work out. It's just the chief and I here. Rita's in her office, 1 member of the public. So there you go. You're on national TV. So that actually went pretty well. The Delta variant, we follow that. Rick provides quite a bit of information, and you attend, of course, participate in the calls, and it's getting bad. It's getting bad. Fortunately, we haven't had any additional infections here in Palmyra, but who knows what's coming. I'll just keep on going unless you interrupt me with questions. Salary review committee, there are a couple of miscellaneous items that I emailed about, nothing really, to discuss while we're here tonight. We're going to address some things once Tangi is on full time, which is August 13th. Veterans Memorial Park Improvement Project, unless Brandon, has something that he wants to offer there.
No update right now.
They're preparing final plans and specifications as we speak, and hopefully, I think Bill Kirshner indicated, and Tim Kalani, who's leading that design effort, will have something for us end of August. Recycling, again, knock wood, seems to be back to semi-normal. They're not able to pick, at least they're picking up on the days that it's scheduled. There has been some carryover into the next day, which is not a disaster, but it's, at least they're coming out on the days on the regular 2-week cycle and picking it up. We have had a number of complaints, but they are getting to it. They've been pretty good that way. Subordination request. Ted has a memo in the packet here. I'm just going to turn it over to Ted and let him address that, please.
Mayor, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Good. The request by a resident whose name is confidential by virtue of our prior practice is to refinance their existing mortgage. Presently, they have a mortgage and the borough has a second mortgage. Their goal is to refinance their first mortgage, but their new mortgage company wants the first position. What that means is that if the property goes into foreclosure, the new mortgage company wants to be paid first before Palmyra. Since Palmyra's mortgage predates the new mortgage that would be advanced, if nothing were to happen, Palmyra's mortgage would be in first place. That is, it would be paid first in the event of a foreclosure. The mechanism to allow the new mortgage company to jump over Palmyra's prior in time filing to gain this first priority in the event of foreclosure is called subordination. This governing body historically has used an analysis as follows. The governing body looks at the fair market value of the property. If the new indebtedness plus the borough's mortgage exceeds 80%, then historically the governing body has, with some exceptions, not approved the request for refinancing. Here, under the facts of this case, with the new first mortgage plus the existing Palmyra mortgage, the total debt to equity ratio would be 87%, in excess of the 80%. Why is this significant to the borough? In the event that there is a foreclosure and the borough's mortgage is not paid, then the borough would owe to the fund that has been created under certain regional contribution agreements, any monies that are lost to the Palmyra Rehabilitation Fund. Therefore, if the borough governing body wanted to be cautious and you wanted to follow the precedent that prior governing bodies have utilized, you would reject this request for subordination. If, on the other hand, you thought that the equity cushion, the difference between the fair market value of the property and the sum of the new mortgage plus the borough's existing mortgage was sufficient to protect the borough in the event of a foreclosure, then you could approve. So it's really a determination for the governing body. It is not set in cement that you have to follow the 80% rule. That was simply a guideline that was instituted by prior governing bodies. I hope that that makes sense. If you have any questions, I'd be pleased to try to answer them.
And what position are we in currently? We're in second.
We're
Currently,
in
correct?
second. If nothing happened, then if they sought to refinance the first, the new mortgage would be in second position.
Mhm.
What the new mortgage company is saying, we won't refinance unless we can jump over the borough and be in first position.
Yeah, we did this a few years ago, I believe.
We've
The same
probably,
thing.
yeah, we've
right?
probably done it
Yeah.
on, I'd say 20 times.
Okay.
And the issue is always whether or not the borough feels that there's a sufficient equity cushion in the event of a foreclosure in order to make sure that the borough would still be protected.
I had a question. I may have missed this. Did you say that it was 87% in excess, or is it 7%?
It's 7% in excess of that guideline that we
Okay.
used previously. We have approved it on other occasions when the debt to equity ratio exceeded 80%. We like to do it when it is 80% or less, but candidly, and I think John will verify, we have varied from that policy from time to time.
We have. We vary.
And this may be, nobody may know, but I'm going to ask, in what situation have we decided to variate from our original,
I don't remember any type of reason why you said yes.
Yeah, I think it's a case by case, and I mean my suggestion is to go through with it, because right now we're not shifting any place. Right now we're already in second position, so we're not losing that. But also if we're looking at the probability of foreclosure, if someone's refinancing, it's probably to get a better rate. Therefore, the position they're in now is probably a higher probability to foreclosure than if they're refinancing for a cheaper rate. So I mean, for us to not actually, we're not losing any type of positioning in this, but it's something that we're able to actually help a resident of the town, and it's not hurting us or the taxpayer. I think we're actually going to be in a better position, by allowing them to, I guess, not have that higher probability of foreclosure.
Good analogy, Brandon. And I agree, especially with the year that we're coming off of. You don't know any of that situation that it's gonna help somebody else out. I say we should do it.
I have a resolution title,
Okay.
reader prepared. It would be, assuming everybody agrees with that or majority, resolution would be to approve the subordination of the Palmyra Housing Rehabilitation Lien on Block 91, Lot 4, allowing the new first mortgage to supersede the Borough of Palmyra Housing Rehabilitation Program lien.
Okay, and Rita, it would be 160.
169.
69. Can I
Mhm.
just say whatever John just said?
Okay.
And may I have a motion?
If I may, just to add to that, I would respectfully suggest that that would be subject to verification from the title company that the borough is being insured for a valid second mortgage position in the sum of its remaining principal balance.
The legal fine print.
Yeah.
Fine, thank,
I think Ted wrote that in the resolution.
excuse me?
Ted did write that in there.
Oh, you did.
Inside the body of the resolution.
So it's 2021-169. May I have a motion to approve? So moved.
Second.
Do we need a roll call?
Yes.
Yes, roll call.
Mr. Almond,
Yes.
Mrs. Jenkins,
Can you come back around to me, please? I want to think a few more minutes about that. Thank you.
Mrs. McCann,
Yes.
President Howard,
Yes.
Mrs. Jenkins.
Do you have enough to vote without me?
Yes.
Okay, then I abstain.
Pedestrian signal button. Ted had reached out to schedule that meeting. We did just get confirmation of it. I don't recall when that meeting is. 28th of this month at 11 a.m. I think the entire governing body, chief and I were invited, so all of the governing body can't be there, so you'll have to decide how you want to do that. Bill Kirshner will also be participating as well. So that's moving along pretty quickly. So kudos to Tim for pushing that. Community center HVAC, we are having a difficult issue. I meant to ask Bill to speak on this as well. It is not working properly. We are getting a couple of quotes because it will exceed the quote threshold and will probably be well into the bid threshold. It could be that significant. So as soon as we know more, we'll let you know, but it's not working as of this moment. The system is 15 years old. So we're looking at all of our options here. Storm damage on July 12th. I think we discussed that at length. Online tax sale, September 14th. That'll be a first for us. I think Tangi said you conducted one of those in another town recently, didn't you, Tangi? Tangi's sleeping.
She's there.
All right.
Here, I didn't, so this is going to be my first one.
Okay. So, and as Tangi explained it to me, I mean, it should open it up to even more bidders. So we'll see how that works. Main Harbor Drive Engineering evaluation report. I did discuss that. I have that here. Legion Field artificial turf grooming and GMAX test. You may recall that the company offered to do that. They did it for some reason. I've now asked 3 times for that additional GMAX test. I haven't gotten it. I don't know if that's good news or bad news, but I'm still waiting, so I'll follow up again. This next item is really just a point of interest. Recreational marijuana municipal survey / opt-out communities. As a member of the GIF,
Borough GIF represents 28 of the 40 municipalities in Burlington County. I asked our executive director if he would poll those municipalities just to get a sense as to what the other towns are doing. And so he did just that. And what you have in what I sent to you today really is the updated list. And it shows that Palmyra is in the majority with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 9 other municipalities, 10 in total, that did opt out of it. So a majority of the municipalities did opt out. It looks like 4 did not opt out: Delran, Edgewater Park, Mount Laurel, and Woodland. So they're going to allow it. Cinnaminson is debating that tonight, which is why Ernie is probably late. You know, they were actually moving towards allowing it. And the remainder of the municipalities, about half of them were undecided. So your decision, you know, was in agreement with most of the other towns, you know, that responded to the survey anyway. Brownfields, there's 2 convention opportunities here. Brownfields 2021, of course, they're all coming back around because nothing happened in 2020, of course. The Brownfields 2021 convention in Oklahoma City in December. This one is interesting because now we have a signed redevelopment agreement, and our redeveloper is submitting our project for an awards program. It's called the Phoenix Awards, and they're awarded annually to the best brownfield projects in the country. He and I agree, by he, I mean Glenn Stock, agree that we have an excellent opportunity here to bring some more notoriety to our project. So he is having that application prepared. There's also other opportunities for other awards programs, but that is the most significant one. So you don't have to, if you want to let me know if you're interested, we can gauge and get more information and share that. That convention is in December. The second one is the ICMA, which is the International City County Managers Association. That is the, you know, town managers and administrators annual conference, which I typically attend. And this year it's in Portland, and I would request to be able to do that. Of course, wasn't able to last year. So with your permission, I would like to attend that this year. It should be a very good one. I'm going to take that as a yes. Grant opportunities, nothing really new to report here. They're just kind of on here as reminders. You know, I don't think that we've applied for the DCA Local Recreation Improvement Grant. Again, that's for the artificial turf field that, you know, to expedite the replacement of the artificial turf soccer field. The Local Assistant Bureau, this is, we're waiting for some more information from Department of Community Affairs regarding a potential shared service between our fire department and EMS and or with other municipalities. I don't have an update there. And then DVRPC, Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission, Safe Routes to Transit Technical Assistant Program. They've actually agreed to put together some state agencies that look at this sort of thing. And what was suggested was a potential pedestrian bridge from the light rail station in Pennsauken over the creek, make connection to our redevelopment area, basically by the train tracks right there. So DVRPC has agreed to bring in some of the agencies that would be looking at this. And right now we're scheduling, coordinating that, you know, that effort. So it's pretty interesting, which would be a big boon to the project. I mean, you've got workers who need to get to the warehouses, and you have residents who will live in the affordable housing. American Rescue Plan Act. The borough qualified for $750,000. We've already received half of that. Don has already completed the application and essentially focused on loss of revenue, fund revenue that we lost due to the pandemic, and returned all of those documents. So that'll be a big boon to our bottom line. Half of the award is supposed to come in 2021 rather, and the second in 22. So
done is on that. Everything else below here, I'm not even going to go through them, Your Honor, are really placeholders for other things that we've discussed in the past. Just try to organize a little bit better. And as far as my report, I don't really have anything else to add other than what we discussed heretofore.
Do we want to do committee reports? We have to Sarah, you can do several.
I'm sorry, is the mayor speaking to me?
Yes, I am.
Oh, I'm so sorry. What was that?
Anything to report for your committees?
I do not have anything to report. I have been unable to meet due to vacations and so forth. So we'll come back around.
Okay, thank you. Michelle, do you want to do public works and
Sure. I don't have my book because I changed my bag, but we did meet, Tim, myself, and Brandon met. We talked about across the board some of the topics that were being discussed, the salary. We talked about that at length. We also talked about the public works just being, short staffed and what we can do. We also I had also asked about for grounds about the bathrooms come in the fall. So Tim was gonna ask John about having someone, take over the bathroom situation if the gym was still requiring that. So we did discuss that. And Brandon, I think that was all we discussed. Maybe a couple more things if you remember.
Brandon, do you want to add anything?
Well, we discussed, the field usage and community center again, but I don't know if that falls under Michelle or Tim's. But as a committee, we did discuss that. No, I think they were the big topics.
Tim, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, guys, just real quick. I don't have any notes in front of me, but just that we're still in the process of working on the ordinance for the fields and the community center. Rita is going to be on top of that with me. Me and Rita and probably Michelle are going to try to get something done to come back to our committee, and then we'll have something. So we're all on top of that. We're not delaying on that. That was the big thing we were working on.
All right. Since I have you on the phone while we were speaking, do you have any comments?
Yes, real quick. Not to beat a dead horse. I think Councilwoman Farrah Jenkins said it great that what else do you want the town to do in certain situations. Just to make it clear that people may have missed earlier, when the fire department reports out, that's the borough reporting out. We put a dumpster on their block for them. We went out today and lowered it so they could put more stuff in there. There's just so much we can do as a borough, and everyone in town was going through this. It was a horrific storm. It was just nothing that anybody could plan for or prepare for. That's what it was, like they call a perfect storm. I do appreciate her coming on and, giving her opinion and her comments, but I think the borough and the fire department did everything that we could possibly do. We've been preparing for this while tracking the water levels. That's what we prepare for. We're repairing flood basins for the water to drain off. But as you know, if it pours down for 3 hours straight, the water doesn't go anywhere but in anybody's yard or basement. That's a no-brainer there. I like to thank the fire department, police department, public works, the borough staff that, our police department flooded. No one's exempt from this storm that happened. But I think if someone would like something specific, let us know. But I think Tracy, what she's doing right now with gathering information and trying to provide it to, the government for any possible funding, that's the best thing we can do. And that is an awesome thing that we can try to do. Because you don't know if you're going to award anything unless you present something, some kind of information. So great job, Tracy, and thank you for doing that. That's my comment right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your Honor, before you go on, under public events, we did skip over the Halloween parade. Chief may have something to offer there.
I'm sorry, the Halloween parade is on for, October 30th, it's a Saturday night. We could not figure out a rain date, so we just have Monday. Monday. All right, thank you.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. What did you say?
October 30th for the Halloween parade.
No rain date.
No rain date.
Okay.
Okay, Sarah, do you have any comments, anything you want to say?
No, I don't have anything to say other than, my prayers is just out, with the community. If there's anything that I can do personally, reach out to me. I can come and help clean up or whatever, but my heart is out with you guys. And thanks, Tracy, for everything that you're trying to do as well.
Brandon.
I just want to thank Councilwoman McCann and Naomi for coming out, and we had a little veterans meet and greet last Saturday, the 10th. I don't know, what do we have? We had about maybe seven people show up. It was nice. A few of our residents are subject matter experts in certain things, so it's really great to have them. We have the head of the Veterans Affairs for the county lives in the harbor, so she came out to provide some information. So we have a lot of really great people that are able to lend some assistance. And there were a few vets that got some information that they didn't know before coming. So even though it was a small turnout, but it was still, it was good to get things started.
That's great. You're gonna have another one?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we did this one in the middle of summer and got a good turnout. It was nice, and it was a nice morning. It was nice and shaded over at we did it at Legion Field Pavilion, so we had some decent cover. Hopefully in the fall we'll try to get something else together and get some more people out.
That sounds great. Great job. And Michelle?
No comment. Thank you to the police and fire and Tracy for everything they do and public works.
Thank you. I want to congratulate Andrew Yancey. Andrew was a representative of Palmyra in the Lewis Bay Second Future Municipal Leadership Scholarships. They had over 70 replies, and he came within the top 10. So congratulations. I have a certificate of participation for you, Andrew. You were a joy to work with, and hopefully the students that see you will exude what you have done. Thank you, and good luck up at Rochester University. It's going to be cold. Also, I will let the neighbor know once I see a couple of days that it isn't in the 90s. And I also want to thank all of those staff for everything that they have done. The fire department, the police department, Tracy, our clerks who took the phone calls, because when I called in at 9:30, 10 o'clock, all of our shop vacs have been, and somebody, a resident came and got them to use them. So that was a good purchase. So they took the phone calls, and we thank you. And our heart does go out to our residents that are affected badly. And hopefully it was 100-year flood. We won't be seeing it again. Anything else? I'm making like I don't have to say anything else. John, do you have anything?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Okay. Do we have anything for closed council?
I don't, Your Honor.
I do not, Your Honor.
You do not? Thank you. May I have a motion to close?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, guys.
Good night, everyone. Stay safe.
Good night, all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When I hit that,